What is up, you sexy beasts? Oh, it feels good to be back in the backyard gym, get a bit of vitamin D while I train. I just did a nice little 10-minute EMOM on the muscle ups, the ring muscle ups, and then the HWPO programming today was 3 power cleans followed by 1 push jerk, 5 sets, and like I've said before, at the moment I'm just doing squat cleans. If a power clean comes up, I'm changing it to a squat clean. So you guys can be proud of me. I did my squat cleans today instead of the power cleans. As much as I hate it, it's going to be good for me. And then some deadlifts to finish. Before I started the session today, I thought I've got some high skill gymnastics here in the form of the ring muscle up. And then I've got an Olympic lift. I'm going overhead as well. I'm pretty much using everything, my whole body. And so I came up with this little warm up, which was just beautiful. It was just one of those warm-ups that you finish and you go, man, I feel good. Every part of me feels warm and limber and ready to go. So I thought I'll share it with you guys now. I just kind of made it up and it just worked out so well. So it's just 2 rounds, 4 exercises. The first round you do 20 reps of everything. The second round you do 15 reps of everything. And round 2 you can progress some of the movements slightly. So round 1, we're starting with 20 nice big kips on the rings, just arch to hollow kips, really focusing on snapping into the hollow. From there, we're going to the GHD. We're going to do 20 hip extensions facing back to front, I guess, on the GHD. So holding the place where your feet normally go and just extending the hips, getting that lower back nice and warmed up. From there, we're going into 20 air squats and finally 20 push-ups. That's round 1. Round 2, we have 15 toes to ring, followed by 15 hip extensions on the GHD. Then instead of doing air squats, we're going to do 15 squat clean thrusters with an empty barbell. And finally, if you have a dip bar available, go 15 dips or just do 15 more push-ups. Such a simple warm-up. It took me 7 or 8 minutes, and honestly afterwards I just felt ready to go. Obviously do a bit of dynamic stretching after the warm-up, but yeah, give that a go next time that you have high skill gymnastics and an Olympic lift in the same session. The guys from RX Smart Gear, they saw me try the double under crossovers last week when I hurt my calf muscle, and they sent me the Vrevo, I think it's called, the Vrevo. And what it is, I think it's three different cable options, and they reckon that the gummy rope, which I think is this one here, the gummy rope's the one to go. Something a bit heavier, a little bit longer. So thank you so much, RX Smart Gear. Maybe tomorrow, my calf is just about back to normal, so maybe tomorrow we'll give it another crack with a bit more warm-up this time around. Okay, let's have a chat about who really is the fittest on earth. Is it the CrossFitters, or is it someone like the Tour de France cyclists? Is it ultra marathon runners or triathletes? Who's the fittest? This video, this conversation, it was inspired by a conversation that Hunter McIntyre, Andrew Hiller and Sevan had on Sevan's podcast maybe last week sometime, and I want to play you the clip, and I just realized I've never actually done a reaction video, so let's do that together now. I'll play this 3-minute clip that I've pulled from Sevan's podcast, and I'll just jump in here and there and give my opinion on it.
Let me say something about CrossFit real quick that we can all agree upon. I think of all the training method, we all agree that the person who wins the CrossFit Games is the fittest on the planet based on the definition of what fitness is. But even outside of that, we all know that the methodology is, when performed at its highest level, with all the appropriate nutrition, with the rest, with the intensity that you're supposed to, that the adaptation the body goes through is like no other. Would we agree with that? That it is
Hunter, do you agree?
The way.
You see Hunter's face, it starts off fine, and as Sevan continues to talk, Hunter's face kind of changes, starts to frown, starts to kind of give him the sideways look. And the reason is they are talking about 2 different things. Sevan is talking about the adaptation that the body goes through when you do CrossFit. He is saying that because of the wide variety of stimulus that we put our bodies through as CrossFitters, the adaptation is unmatched from any other type of training or sport, which is completely true. The reason this is true is because most other sports are single modality. So you're getting really good at one thing and often to the detriment of other areas of fitness, which is fine because you're training for that specific sport and you have to just focus all your energy on that one particular skill or that one particular energy system. And so the thing that Sevan is talking about is something different to what I believe Hunter has in his mind when Sevan is talking here. Hence the face.
Even Hunter said yesterday on the show, you even said yesterday on the show, this is the High Rocks world champion, arguably one of the fittest men, if not the fittest man in the world.
Okay, hold up. Sevan doesn't actually believe that. He says arguably the fittest man in the world. He doesn't believe that Hunter's the fittest man on earth. He's just saying that because Hunter's a friend of his and he's right there on the podcast. I don't think that Sevan believes that.
Said, fuck that CrossFit training was hard. You said that yesterday.
It was hard because you just have to do things that are hard. Like me digging ditches in the backyard is hard. I'll put it to you this way. I went and hung out with like all these big, like pro league, the top of the line soccer players in the UK. And I'm friends with one of their brothers and we just went and had a barbecue and I was sitting there kind of eyeing them up. They all look like little boys.
Yeah.
They don't look like anything like athletes.
They do? Who were they?
Soccer
they're all
players.
The Tottenham players. Tottenham, soccer team out there.
Gotcha.
I'm not badmouth them at all, but you wouldn't look at them and be like freak athletes, but they are some of the most coordinated, fit, just incredibly like gifted athletes on the planet. It's hard these days, at least for me, because I dabble in a lot of sports, to put a finger on anybody who's really the best. I will say CrossFitters, if you put them in most situations, they're the most well-rounded.
So the reason that Hunter struggles when he says that it's really hard for him to put his finger on who is the best, and even when he describes the soccer players, he mentions coordination, which is one of the 10 physical skills, and then he goes, they are some of the most coordinated, fit, like he's kind of hunting for words, and the reason he's hunting for words is because he doesn't have a definition of fitness. Most of the world, if not all of the world outside of CrossFit, they don't really have a definition of fitness, and that's why you can't call who is the fittest if you don't have a definition of what the fittest is. And so what CrossFit's done, CrossFit's made a definition for fitness, and therefore we can then measure people based on that definition. If you don't have a definition of fitness, you can't measure people against anything. And so that is why people struggle to say who they think the fittest is.
And the stimulus that they're giving their body causes probably the greatest adaptation.
Dude,
by
fucking
far.
A, dude. Go look at any of the data on Tour de France, and these people in one day on a bike do more than these people do the entire fucking time during the CrossFit Games. It's insanely not even close from a metabolic standpoint. Don't even fucking try to measure it.
Okay, again, so Hunter here is talking about the amount of work that someone does in the Tour de France during the event, whereas Sevan's talking about the adaptation to one's body when you train to be a CrossFitter. They're talking about two completely different things, and that's why they can't see eye to eye here, is because they're not actually arguing the same thing.
Like,
whoa, what point are you trying to make there?
Yeah, that's just in one pathway. My point
No,
is
it's
this.
all pathways. It's all pathways. If you think about the amount of load and time that these people are putting on versus just, you can measure almost anything through watts. Watts is a very easy measurement. You can even do it through weightlifting, aerobic output, whatever the fuck it is. In CrossFit Games, the average workout is 7 minutes long, and they do about 10 to 13 of them during the weekend. So let's just like bump it up and say they're working out for about 90 minutes total. Hard 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours.
The hardest in any training in the world.
Not even close, dude. Just go
Spot
watch.
on. Accurate.
You don't start this with me.
And so in this case, Hunter's definition of fitness is the total wattage output on a bike. That's his definition of fitness going into this argument. Whereas in Sevan's mind, the definition of fitness is as we know it, the 10 physical skills and how well he can do across those. And so this conversation will just never go anywhere until we can all agree on the definition of fitness.
What are we trying to say about the Tour de France in relation to CrossFit?
You were just trying to say that it's the hardest thing ever, and I'm just saying that's not
No,
true.
I'm saying relative to the adaptation that the body
I asked
has.
you if you thought they were the fittest on earth, and that's what you were saying. Cyclists are more fit.
Each people are.
He's fallen into my trap. He's trying to tell the difference between passionate and caring.
Oh, and then you go watch a cyclist try to lift any amount of weight and they crumble.
That's
I
not
know.
fit. That's just that's a measure of strength.
Yeah, but don't you throw that into the bucket of fitness?
Okay, so Andrew brings up a really good point here, and he uses the same kind of logic that Hunter used when he isolated cycling as a measure of fitness. And he says that's not fair when Andrew brings up a heavy lift. He says that's a measure of strength, not fitness. So the big breakdown and understanding here is that the word fitness is the big breakdown. That's the problem. When you ask most people what is fitness, they automatically assume that the word fitness is cardiovascular fitness. They automatically think about endurance. They think about ultramarathon runners, marathon runners, triathletes, cyclists. That's what they go to when they think fitness. When we think fitness, we think strength, power, speed, all the 10 physical skills. So I just wish there was another word that we could use instead of fitness so that we can all get on the same page when we talk about who is the fittest on earth.
Listen, I'm not going to agree with you guys because it's not my goal to.
I actually really like Hunter. That whole podcast was mostly around Andrew saying that Tia-Clair Toomey is on performance enhancing drugs. And I actually think that Hunter absolutely schooled Andrew throughout that whole podcast. So if that's something that interests you, go and watch that podcast. I highly recommend it. But on this topic, Hunter is wrong. Or not wrong, he's talking about something completely different. Let's have a quick look at the 10 physical skills. Now, these are not specific to CrossFit. I learned these when I did my 3-year sports degree. This is not a CrossFit thing. Everyone in the fitness industry accepts that these are the 10 physical skills. They are cardiovascular endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. So those are the 10 general physical skills. And our definition of fitness as CrossFitters is that you have to be good at all of these things. The person that is the best at all of these things is the fittest. Not the person who is just good at cardiovascular endurance, which is, the cyclist. Or the person who has great coordination, the soccer players that Hunter talked about. Who is good at all these things? And so when Andrew asked the question, how will they go for heavy lift? That is a fair question. But only if you believe that fitness is how well-rounded you are across these 10 physical skills. So, the big question, is Tia-Clair Toomey, is Justin Medeiros, are they the fittest athletes in the world? The fittest male, the fittest female? Well, based on our definition of fitness, yes, they are. But unless you subscribe to our definition of fitness, maybe they're not. It really depends on what you believe fitness is. Now, I will say that I don't believe anyone else has actually come up with a definition of fitness other than CrossFit. If there is another definition that is measurable and repeatable out there, please let me know. But as far as I'm aware, the definition of fitness based on what CrossFit defines it as is the only measurable, repeatable, testable definition of fitness. And therefore, I do think that they are the fittest athletes in the world. It seems reasonable and logical to me that if you're going to call someone the fittest on earth, they need to be able to show capacity and ability through all 10 physical skills. We call that fitness. Maybe the world doesn't. I wish we can come up with another term that everyone can agree on, that term represents well-roundedness across all 10 physical skills. But until that day, I think this argument's always going to be there, and people won't see eye to eye because they're talking about two completely different things. I just had a great idea for a video. I should go around to different gyms around the Gold Coast and ask people, maybe ask physical trainers, how do you determine if someone's fitter than someone else? If I gave you 10 people, what tests would you put them through to determine who's the fittest? I think that'll be really telling. If a personal trainer or any kind of physical trainer, if they give you the tests that they would put someone through to find the fittest, that'll be really telling as to what they believe fitness is. If they say, I'm going to make these 10 people run a marathon and the person who wins, they are going to be the fittest. Then we know that person views fitness as cardiovascular and muscle endurance, right? If someone else says, I'm going to put them through a 1 max strength test and the person who can lift the heaviest, they are the fittest, then we know that trainer views fitness as, max strength. That could be a really interesting video. I might just do that. But I want to know what you think. I know we have a lot of CrossFitters on this channel, but there are some of you that don't CrossFit. How do you view fitness? When you hear the word fitness, do you think about cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance athletes? Or when you hear the word fitness, do you think about a well-rounded person who can lift, run, do all the things that CrossFitters do? And do you believe that Tia and Justin are truly the fittest humans on earth? Or do you think we are diluted in our little CrossFit bubble? That's what I want to know from you today. So get involved down in the comments. It should be fun. And stay sexy. Keep roaring love. See you soon. Mwah.